of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need an approval for the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Dan,
I'll second it.
seconded by Jennifer. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of February regular meeting minutes. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Al,
I'll second it.
seconded by Jennifer. Roll call vote.
Okay, Mel?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jeff? Oh. Okay, your turn.
Sorry.
The other Jeff, yes. Jennifer? Yes. Al?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Can we get the amount?
$102,943.22. That, a big chunk of that, the reason it's so high is we did pay our, yearly contract for the fire department. So that was 50,000 of that. Old business, JPR Water Improvement Project update. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, we've been saying it for months and months and months and months and months, but we're finally entering the final descent on this. We have our permits for Eagle going in on Friday. Got a couple of updates that we're working on tomorrow, and then we'll hit the submit button for our third review by them for the phase 2 water main replacement project, which includes over 30,000 linear feet of water main, new well, and water tower improvements. So that's where we're at. We're on schedule. Once they have it, it takes about 45 to 60 days to get comments back from them. Cross our fingers, hoping for nothing significant coming back from Caitlin, and then it goes to USDA for final check, and they will review all the permits, top to bottom, all 6 of them, and then once we get approval from them, then we will be advertising for bids for construction.
One thing I was curious about, when we go out to bid, if, you know, we're doing one big project and then we're breaking it down into either halves or quarters or whatever. If somebody comes in, I'm just gonna sort of throw Selge or whatever out, is there a way to put in there that if they need some other contractor or whatever, that they use our local people first? Do you know where I'm going with that?
I don't think so.
Okay, I just
I think it's
curious.
too late in this game to, you know, sole source or select, do a pre-selection process.
I know we talked about it before, but I just wanted to.
I mean, obviously, your local contractors will be cheaper to subcontract because they have next to nothing mobilization costs, and fuel is pretty pricey
Yep.
when you're talking about quoting infrastructure, construction projects. So, but to explicitly say you have to choose this person, no, you can't
It
do
is
that.
worth a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're all open to bidding in the beginning, so if you wanna be in through.
Correct. Yep. All local contractors can do the project. If they have qualifications, that meet the specifications of White Pigeon and the state of Michigan.
If they're qualified and they're local, you know, getting brought on as a sub to whoever the general is will probably just happen. You know, whether-
Especially in this area,
Yeah.
that typically happens.
Yeah, I mean, they all know each other anyway.
Yeah, it's not like there's 40 contractors all within St. Joseph County that would do that kind of work, so.
Thank you. You got anything?
I
guess I'd add just a little bit to that, and I'd say that we're, that schedule we gave you a month ago, we're on track for that. Josh is right to say 45 to 60 days to get review comments back. We're hoping it'll be a lot quicker this time because they're hopefully not reviewing everything from stem to stern. They're just gonna go through what their comments were and verify that we responded or revised things based on that input, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we'll do our best to politely, push them, but,
And
that kinda is what it is.
we've had, a dozen phone calls and email exchanges with the permit reviewer, Caitlin,
A few meetings
on,
too.
on specific items. So, we've gotten clarification on pretty much everything to this point.
For the purpose of making that subsequent review
Yeah.
easier and faster for her, hopefully.
Okay. Is that everything?
That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions for us?
I do not myself at this time. Dan? No? Okay, Al, Jennifer, Jeff, Diane? No. Do you have anything? Okay, moving on to ordinance
Thank you.
2025-01-08. Gonna be you.
Okay, wait a minute. President, point of order, can we have our council member explain this? And then if he has questions, you guys can ask him.
Yeah, we can do that.
Instead of him running this way, I'd appreciate that. Because last time it didn't work out, when he helped us out. That was not it.
Oh.
Well, it's facts.
Or
But-
opinions.
Al, you start, and then if need be, we can have Doug chime in. We're not gonna play that game.
Well, he's the chair and.
I get that, but he's working with Doug closely on it, so they're both gonna make sure that they both get the information out there.
All right, for the marijuana change, that's what this ordinance is all about. We have to have two right now, and we're gonna go to unlimited. So that way, we can avoid lawyers and getting sued. That's exactly what the problem is. And Doug, you can tell us about the people that are having trouble with lawsuits.
Do I have the floor, Mr. President?
Yes.
So I'm reluctant to be here to ask or offer a recommendation to you on a change of an ordinance already. But the marijuana committee determined and we passed an ordinance. This is on the police powered side. It is not on the zoning ordinance side. We passed an ordinance that allowed for 2 retail establishments in the village. Similar to what Mottville did. Identical to what Mottville did, basically. I have had 6 to 7 inquiries already for the village of White Pigeon. One of the attorneys said, I'm not gonna do it, but how are you doing your selection process? And I told him, and he said, oh, you're setting yourself up for a lawsuit, but we're not gonna sue you. And I said, whatever. So I did reach out to council, and it's their recommendation as well to change from 2 retail establishments to unlimited. 2 things. Number 1, if you do that, it's gonna eliminate the big section, I believe it's section 5 on page 4 of your ordinance. It takes the selection committee completely out of this. So it's not gonna be a selection committee that's gonna arbitrarily pick the top 2 out of 7 or however many you get. This is gonna take it to unlimited, and then it's gonna solely fall on your zoning ordinance, which says they have to be in a mixed-use district. They can't be within 1,000 feet of a school, they can't be within 500 feet of a church, and they can't be within 100 feet of a residence. If they meet all those criteria, they come to the planning commission for a site plan and a special use, and we're done. It's not gonna be an arbitrary thing by a committee that if you pick 2 out of 7, I can pretty much guarantee you one of those that didn't get it are probably gonna bring a lawsuit against you. Will they prevail? Who knows, may not. but it gets very, very expensive. I had one that just finally closed up after 2 years of litigation, and between the two parties, there's probably $1 million in lawyer fees out there. Fortunately, our insurance company on the municipal side covered those fees, so it didn't cost us, but it's no guarantee that your insurance company will pick up a litigation claim until they review what the claim is. So it is my recommendation that you do the text amendment to amend the 2 retail establishments to unlimited, and then eliminate that section that's in red in page 4 of the ordinance that you should have before you. Lawsuits get very expensive, you know, and look at your legal fees just on the police department. You know, people get a simple speeding ticket or running a stop sign, and they wanna fight it because they wanna prove you're wrong, and that costs money. So if somebody would try to litigate against not being one of the 2, you could be looking at a lot of bucks. So this recommendation is only from a liability standpoint, not a preference to see how many dispensaries we can get in the village.
Well, I think between the, sorry,
I might have to wait till public comment then, so that's fine.
go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna say, if you guys are kind of weary about that, everything he said is true, but what a lot of townships have done after opting in, if you go unlimited, like Three Rivers, for example, or New Buffalo, they waited a little longer than most, but Three Rivers went unlimited, so to speak, this meeting. The next meeting, they put a moratorium on it, which is totally legal, and it caps everybody from flooding your city. And what that means is they have to have either purchase property, a lease on property, or some type of purchase agreement to pursue a dispensary prior to the moratorium, which would be, if you guys see fit, next month at your meeting. And so, for an example, the KFC that went out of business in Three Rivers, you cannot put a dispensary there, but you can put any other business you want. And within the first month, they had 7 people that met those requirements, and that's why they have 7 dispensaries. But they all opened at different times. There's not any new licensing being approved, same with New Buffalo. But if you go unlimited, it allows everyone to fit the criteria. You guys don't have to have any litigation fees. And then if you put a moratorium on it, because you already opted in and accepted applications, they cannot come a year from now, 6 months from now. And what'll happen then is you'll have businesses start selling. You know, I'm just scanning the town today, the laundromat will get bought, the old Mexican place will get bought. It's just, it's gonna be whoever wants to retire.
Thank you, Justin. I think it's still gonna limit it to where we're not gonna have even if 50 people come and do it with between 1,000 feet from the public or private school, 500 feet to the church, and 100 feet from the residence. You're still pretty limited on what you're doing, or where you're gonna be, sorry. Guess we'll open it up for board discussion.
So what if you have a moratorium that you do a rolling opening, like when you're doing a retail area, you're gonna have one section open a month later, in this case, it would be 3 months later, another area. What's the legal ramifications of that?
Three Rivers put unlimited the very next month because they had so many people inquire. They put a moratorium, and they set that moratorium from that month to the following year. So it gave them a year cap. And then they reviewed it, and they chose that they had enough still, so they're legally able to do so without having to worry about a lawsuit.
So in a couple Florida towns have done a moratorium where it's been indefinite. In other words, building permits, we're not able to do that indefinitely. At some point, we gotta come up for air, is that right?
I believe you have to set a time period, but it could be year by year or 2 years at a time.
As it stands right now, if you go by your zoning district, you're basically not gonna get anything this side of Bradley Street, which is the water tower, because of your zoning district. They have to be in the mixed use district, and when the schools, because they're on both sides of 12, and you take 1,000 feet from both schools, school property, that takes in a big chunk. Then you've got 2 churches here, you've got a church to the north, so that's another 500 feet moving it that way.
Maybe we need to open some more churches.
Pastor Tom back here might be willing to do that.
You got anything, Diane?
I'm kind of curious of a lawyer name or two? I'd like to talk to a lawyer and get better understanding. Do you have a name of a lawyer?
Yeah, Roxanne Seaver.
Attorney Roxanne Seaver.
Okay. She's one of them that called him?
Yeah, she's who I talked to, he talks to, Al's talked to.
Alright.
Who are the attorneys that called him? He said there was 6 or 7, that's I think what Diane's asking.
Oh, there'll probably be marijuana companies like me all over the state.
Yeah, I didn't ask who their name was, I just asked about our rules and when we're gonna take applications.
Anything else, Diane?
No.
Anything to discuss about it?
I think we're pretty safe on this. There's not a whole lot out on the 131 area that people are gonna be able to buy someplace else. So,
No?
No, I think what we've done now has covered what we needed to do. I hadn't even thought of that, but once he brought it up, it's like, yeah, okay, it brings it to light, and we need to cover that too.
Dave?
I still have, I would wanna see this on paper. No offense, Mr. Coolman, but I don't take somebody's word for it. I wanna see the legislation, and I wanna see where we have to open this up. Because I have state documents here from their website, and I can read them to you if you like, that says we are perfectly within right to limit the amount, or to keep it closed.
You are, absolutely.
So my point to that is that this is no different, if you wanna look at it in another way, this is no different than opening up for a job. Let's say we have 2 positions open for a job. We have 7 people who throw in an application. One of the people says, if you don't choose me, I'm gonna sue you. I think if we go ahead with this and approve it, we are opening the village up to much more legislation that anybody can come along who doesn't like an ordinance or rule or something else in the village, say, I'm gonna sue you tomorrow. By God, you better change this right now, whether it's legal or not. You're opening up a legal precedence here that we're gonna be spending much more money for trying to defend all this other stuff that's gonna come later, because it will, than what we would if we had this, because we have the state law behind us that says we don't have to. We don't have to cave into this pressure. Let them sue, fine, whatever. State law says we can limit it, or have, because right now, there's 1,326 different municipalities in the state who aren't open. Only 139, according to the state information, 139. And there's 2,256 open licenses right now. That's about 16 per municipality. About 100 years ago, this town had over 13 gas stations in it, including Brian and Kevin Atherton's old place, Skeeter Atherton's, the sub shop, kitty corner from here, both places that of Nate's Auto, the bait shop, and some other places that have now been torn down. Why aren't there 13 gas stations in this town today? Because we can't support it. There's no reason for us to have more than 2 in this town because the town will not support it. Sturgis has already lost one of their businesses off on the east side or the west side of town. It's closed. So is that what we want to do, is have a very short-term group of businesses in here that are going to then, well, we can't make a business here, so we're just going to pull out and leave another empty building right back where we started. But we still have this, where we just keep cycling through things. Is that responsible for us as a board to do? No, it's not. 2 is plenty. Constantine's 3 miles away. If you don't like the 2 we have, go there. Sturgis, 15-minute drive. If you don't like the 2 we have here, go there. It's not like we're pulling anybody in from Indiana, because they can't do it either. So it's no advantage for more than just the 2 locations that we're going to allow. There isn't. And you can't say, well, it's all that much more revenue. Can you tell me right now, because we're not gonna get a penny of that until 2027. Can you tell me right now how much that's gonna be? You tell me right now, how many other marijuana businesses are gonna open up in the state that's also gonna draw from that pool? You can't. We would know have a much better idea with the two that we have, a ballpark of what we can plan for that. Don't open this up. I beg of you, please, do not open up this can of worms. Don't be so short-sighted on this, please.
Yeah, let's not focus on now money. Let's focus 10, 15 years.
Well, I'm not even concerned about the money. That's not what I'm looking at. What we have to look at is, well, it does come down to money, but it's in lawsuit. How much do we want to get sued? Well, potential. It can be either way. Either way, we could be sued. But you just have to look at the least possibility. And right now, we're in the planning stages, so we can plan it the way we want. So we are open at this juncture.
And I appreciate Justin coming in and coming to the meetings, that's fine. I mean, personally, if I was doing the applications and looking at them, I would pick whoever lives in residence White Pigeon first, whoever lives in St. Joe County second, whoever lives in the state of Michigan third, and then open it up to a national chain. That should be the procession right there, because we should be confined to take care of our own. If somebody in this town wants to open up that business, fine. Why don't we have 6 or 7 grocery stores? The town can't support it. We're not gonna be able to support more than 2 pot shops. We just aren't. We can't limit the amount of people who file for the medical ability to get the card to have that as an option. We can't limit that. That's in section 4 of the state law. I understand that. But there's 4 different places in various state laws in the marijuana thing that says that we have every right in the world to say, this is the cap, period. So if they want to legislate against us, fine. They need to legislate against the state. It's a state law. It's not our law. It's a state law.
Good point.
So if they want to legislate, fine. Take it to the state where it belongs. And if the state changes it, by all means, we can change our number.
Yeah.
But by God, please do not do this. Do not.
Jeff, I would just like to comment.
Yeah,
I said I was reluctant to bring it to change an ordinance this quick.
Mhm.
These changes were made by your attorney, Roxanne Sieber, not by me.
I understand.
So I'm bringing that to you. It's her recommendation that you do this as well. If you don't want to do it, I don't care. Just don't come back to me if you do get a lawsuit. And you just heard from Justin, that's what out in the market they do, is if you don't pick them, they will sue you. And it's not guaranteed that your insurance carrier will pick up a claim and all that money will come out of your budget, not an insurance carrier. I don't care what you do. I'm bringing it to you because it was brought to my attention. Your legal team agrees with this and they're the ones that made the amendments. If you don't want to do it, I have no issue with it.
I will say I would like to table this until next month and talk to Roxanne myself and have her send us a written response. Everybody else is okay with that for now?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do.
And check with our insurance agent, see how they would like to help with this.
If nothing else, if somebody sues us and they lose, we can go back at them for legal costs. Where it wouldn't cost us anything.
What, a frivolous suit?
Yeah. That's perfectly within the right of the law as well.
Sorry, I'm just making a note here.
You're fine.
Okay, so if everybody's okay with it, we're gonna table this. I'll get with Roxanne and I will have her send an email, all her responses to everything. I tried to do as best as I could, taking notes here, questions, comments, and concerns with my chicken scratch. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we do got.
Still discuss that.
Yeah, we still got that to go over. That was just the first part.
Okay.
We're on to 5C now. Adult use recreational marijuana establishment application. Touch base on that, Alan?
Yeah. We had Doug go over and put some of the questions that we wanted in the application. And so we had him put that in there and we have a new application all set up and ready to go now.
When I looked at this one, I got the packet, this is,
That's,
Yes, very extensive.
Yeah, it is.
as it should be, considered.
oh no, I agree. I never realized what.
That's why we wanted to get our questions and questions, Teresa, and Jennifer, what was half, so they're nil.
Yeah, there's a lot. But there isn't nothing we need to act on this tonight. This is just for everybody to see what it was. If anybody's, since we're tabling this, if anybody does look at it, I know there's still a lot of packets up here for the last week. They've been here since Wednesday. Mark them up, make your question, comments, concerns, and bring them back to next month's meeting, please.
Yeah, the application process opens April first.
Yeah, we have to do that.
Yeah.
So bring that back, please.
I apologize. Nobody's perfect. So, I don't have a problem with it. I don't know much about this stuff though.
Did you read it?
What?
I just asked Dan if you read through it.
That's how it was, it's good.
Mm.
I don't have a problem with the application.
Yeah, it's,
Then we'll accept this as presented then, I'd say. You got any questions, comments, concerns, Diane, about it?
No, I do not.
Jeffrey?
No.
Jennifer? Alan? No? Dan?
Sure.
Okay. I think we, I'll make a motion to accept it as it's presented.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, new business. 6A, public hearing for fiscal year 2025-2026 budget approval. We'll open the public hearing at 6:26. First, we'll open up for public comment. Go ahead, Dave.
I was looking at this, going over it, there's 19 increases between last year and this year in the budget. The one I had more concern about was, what page is it on? Local community stabilization sharing. Can you explain what that is? Because it went up tremendously. Because last year's requested was 3,500 and this year's is 9,000. It's on page, the bottom says 1 out of 6. It's under the general fund.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Sure.
Yes.
Does anybody want an answer?
Yes.
Alright, so when we did BSNA, they went to the state chart of accounts. So when they did that, that was a transition year. There was two things kind of combined into one. So now it's all lumped just into one account line rather than spread out. It's all state revenue sharing, which is kind of cool. But it's revenue, so you always want more revenue, right? It's just putting it towards one item.
What else you got?
And then looking at the front page, which is this one, the local streets and the main streets, why are we getting so much in that if the roads are gonna be repaired with the water fund and doing the water project?
Because there's still stuff that includes plowing the roads. You're talking about why is there so much in them?
Yes.
Plowing the roads, it covers all that stuff.
Okay.
We still have to repair and do maintenance until we have the actual.
Which, yeah.
And we didn't, this was not supposed to be here because the water was already supposed to be done. Since that's been delayed, we still have to have some amount to be able to do it.
And even afterwards, there's still gonna be general maintenance of plowing the roads, salt and stuff like that.
Lines, all that, yeah.
Potholes. We don't have potholes for a long time, at least in my life.
They're going away now, but.
Thanks for getting 1 and 2 on North St. Joe, by the way.
Yeah.
And then the legal fees for the water project, is that separate from the legal fees that we pay as a village? Or is that combined into the one legal fees?
So sometimes our bills are broken down by Roxanne when she sends them to us, by which department is being billed for what. So one bill for Roxanne could come from police, water government, but most of the water project bills from Akia Myers, who's our legal counsel for water, those all come directly from water.
And then I have one more thing. I'd like to know why there wasn't a public workshop meeting for the budget.
We got a budget committee.
There wasn't one open to the public? May I ask why?
I didn't even know about it, I'm on the council. Everybody else know about it?
Budget committee.
Budget committee.
Yeah.
Budget committee, and then there's been emails and everything with old budgets, new budgets and everything.
But not for the workshop.
That's a budget committee.
Yeah,
We've
that's a
met
budget
3
committee
times.
thing.
You can only have 3 people there. If you got more than that, you have a quorum.
Yeah.
I thought in the beginning you told me that would be open, and that I could attend that.
I guess I don't remember saying that.
Oh, no, that was back in November.
Oh.
So.
But that was before you were on board.
No, I was on board in November.
That's right.
That was their first meeting.
Can I recommend that we do that so I can ask these questions there rather than,
You
Doing
can't
it.
be That's a closed meeting.
I was
It's
asking
not
if,
open.
I was asking if we could think about opening it, is what my question
I think
was.
that's state regulated. We can't even have a
Not
4th member there.
necessarily.
I mean, if you wanted to have an open public meeting, then you could, but then all the board members would need to be there, and the clerk would need to be there to take minutes, and
Yep.
it would have to be posted, and that's a council decision for next year.
We'll discuss it though.
Sure.
Anybody else got anything for public comment on 2025-2026 budget approval? We'll close public comment hearing at 6:31. And we'll open it for council discussion. Daniel? No? Alan? Jennifer? Jeff?
So
Diane?
fast.
Okay, well, close the council discussion. Motion for approval. I'll second it. Roll call vote.
Dan? Diane?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yes.
Jennifer? Al?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
So next is, under new business, is resolution 31925 to authorize issuance of 2025 refunding note and matters related thereto. This is just to continue our, this is all water project related here, for our loan we have to pay for things to get engineering and lawyers and stuff done, number of consultants, all that stuff. We've had it going on, it's just we need a continuance of it. Does anybody have any questions? Dan?
How much more are we paying this year?
We won't know that. The loan is gonna be closed on September, the second week of September, or second week, not weekend, sorry.
So it's not till the second half of the budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Mel? Cal? Jennifer? Jeff? Diane?
No.
I'll make a motion to have me sign the resolution 319-2025.
I'll second.
Seconded by Dan. Let's do roll call vote, please.
Okay, Diane?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Al?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Motion carried. 6C, employee raises, full-time and part-time. It's always this time of the year. We try to do this right as the new budget's coming around. I'll let you two take over this part.
Employee committee met last week and we decided that 3% raises for the full-time and the part-time employees. We also have an employee that's been here 8 years and we feel like Sue should be up at $20 an hour. Her pay right now is $18.10. And with that long a time she's been here, we believe she should be up to $20 an hour. And that's what we're gonna be asking the council to approve, 3% raises for all, and then taking care
does this affect immediately, or does it have, it's gonna wait a year for, like, does Lincoln now automatically get a 3% raise?
Lincoln does not get
That's
that.
one of the things I
That's
told
why
him I
it's-
wanted to see.
No.
But thank you
No,
for
it's right in our handbook.
Probationary period.
Yeah, probationary period. Okay, next to it.
Another question? My buddy Kobe, he just got on and got a nice little raise. I didn't know if he would be involved in that, or we just did that.
He's still here though, so I
Yeah, I see.
think he gets his 3%.
He just got a, what, 2-3 months ago?
In his chance position, so, and I think we deserve.
And then who else is considered on here, part-time, full-time? Who else?
Any village employee, police, them two, well, not Lincoln.
You put on.
John and.
John's
Yeah.
full-time, so, but Sue and Lacey are part-time. So everybody else is full-time.
And that is what the police, it's still going on, the way it works out, that is what the police are asking in their union contract for negotiations.
We still have yet to do that. The representative from the FOP is coming down Friday, 5 o'clock. And so hopefully we'll get that contract straightened out.
Do you have a goal on how much that 3% should be for all the, different salaries?
Was that sheet in the packet?
No, I have a sheet on my desk, I emailed it to him. Do you want me to grab it?
Yeah.
It was overall like $8.
What do you got to say about it, Jennifer? You're on the employee committee.
I mean, the same thing, that's what we talked about, and that's what we think is in the best interest.
3% isn't even keeping up with cost of living.
It's kind of a standard and,
Pretty generous still,
Mhm.
right, standards for those
yeah.
workplaces.
This is very small, I'm sorry. You want to pass that down?
While Dan's going over that, does anybody else on the board have something to say about it? What do you have to say?
And I have to say that this is very awkward, and I didn't ask for any more money, so if you are so inclined, don't worry about voting no, because I won't be offended. Because I didn't know anything about it, so.
You didn't worry about when John was on the board either, so. If you do good work, you should be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be 10 years this year. It'll be 10 years this year.
And
So if anybody doesn't have anything else to say, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the 3% and then the readjustment for Sue. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jennifer, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Let's see, where did I stop? Jeff?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Al?
yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Diane?
Yes,
Motion carried, thank you.
especially for you, Sue.
I,
I expect you to take me out to dinner.
I think Sue is underappreciated, and I don't think people realize what it takes to do a lot of what she does.
Which is why we came to that conclusion.
I would encourage anybody, when it comes time to do the billing for water, to come and sit with her and watch the goat rodeo. She probably appreciate a little help too. Okay, we're on to number 7, public comment. 3-minute speaking rule, please.
What are the, hours for the village office now?
Oh, shoot, I just was talking about that. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hours?
Yes.
Monday and Thursday for sure, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
11:30 to 12:30 it's closed.
What about the other days? They're just,
Well, because we're, aren't we?
Once we hire a new treasurer and clerk, we'll be back open multiple
every
days a
day,
week.
okay,
4 days a week, I don't think, I
I need
can't
to put that
remember.
on the website.
well, whatever.
What?
That the rollover was 2 days.
Yeah.
It's on the website.
I think it's on there.
Leave it on the front door.
It's been on there since
He's on the front
Tax
door.
Day, which was a month ago.
Could you do that tomorrow, please? Just type something up and
Yeah.
still working, wait till Mike got time to speak. What else you got, Diane?
That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else got public comment? Go ahead, Paige.
Okay, so at the beginning of the month, I emailed you something from Congressman Wahlberg regarding the water project funding. Has it been filled out yet?
It has been started to fill out.
Okay,
And it
good.
should be by the end of the week, if I remember right, or it'll be turned in. We've done that a year before, and we were denied.
Okay, well, he said when I talked to his office, he was really interested in helping.
Mhm.
And then I have been in contact with Steve Cara. Frequent contact with him. Yes. He recommends that we reapply for the Safe Drinking Revolving Fund because that starts again in April. Because he met with Eagle regarding our water. I actually made him sit down and talk to Eagle regarding it. So he also recommends that we fill that out again.
Yeah, and we have.
Okay, as I say, because they said it opens again in April.
And so the first water loan is through that revolving.
Okay.
But there's a whole, I know Jennifer's checked out the website and stuff like that, but we have filled that out again. We're gonna fill it out every year and try to get as much free money from them as we can, but unfortunately, we're way down on the list.
Yeah, because he said if we need help filling it out, to contact him, and I will gladly give you his cell phone number. And
I don't
but
But I'm gonna write that down. I talked to him about it Monday. Double check the status of that Walmart thing. Again, we did fill it out last year, the year before, I can't 100% remember, but we were denied it, but we're gonna try again. But thank you for getting that for me. What else you got?
that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
I was just gonna speak on the ordinance. So Niles Township is a township that's going through it. They have 92 commercial properties, so a big thing in their buffer zone was the commercial property had to be 150 feet of road frontage, which came down to like 8 properties. 4 were vacant, 4 were businesses. And they had to switch from 4 to whoever could meet the criteria because of certain buffers. So to allow 2, like Cassopolis did, you could do first come, first serve, April 1st, but I believe that recommendation came from your lawyer because of the criteria of how you're trying to choose someone will be subject to being biased. And if that happens, and the fact of applying for this application where, say it's $10,000 in drawings, plus the application, you see how extensive it is, to not be chosen, companies have lawyers that work for them that'll be like, just basically bully ball till they allow it. Niles has went through it. I guess the best company or township would be to talk to Three Rivers. Similar to what you guys were about to do was they opted in, they saw interest, they then put it unlimited and put a moratorium. If you guys were to opt in with that today and say the moratorium takes place April 1st, you don't have to worry about people coming later on and it being an open can of anywhere you could fit. That's where it's gonna be located at. And so I just wanted to mention that if you were looking at a moratorium to avoid having it being unlimited or a bunch of people, while there's not a lot of property possibly invested in yet, that saves you from having the litigation or having like New Buffalo, 20 properties that are gonna be sold, and then if they don't all make it, they close up. In Niles, you had 4 vacant properties. They thought it'd be 4 licensing, but because it's a point system, someone tried to buy Hackers. So Hackers was for sale at 1.2 million. The offer now is 2.2 million. And it's gonna be taking a community staple from the children because they have to pass a point system for marijuana. And that was already a lawsuit, so now they dropped it and said if all 8 properties wanna sell for dispensary, they can. And that's just kind of how, being that you guys are a state line community, you are the most desirable locations to put a dispensary in the state of Michigan. And they're gonna come.
Thank you. Anybody else? We'll close public comment, move on to committee reports. Go ahead, Bill.
February complaints, 161. The summer's not that busy, but 14 citations. I got the individual permits done for Pigeon days and car shows, so I have to wait for the advance notice permits when we get close to the dates. Are you gonna talk about the paraphernalia ordinance. We gotta probably amend that if we're allowing. Because we have a paraphernalia ordinance right now that still incorporates, of course, meth pipes and stuff like that, but also marijuana pipes. Marijuana, so, that's something that's gonna have to be looked at to be revised, so that's all I have.
Dan?
Okay, so from the ambulance meeting, I have a few notes. The response time percent went down, last month because they had, more than 40 extra calls to make. They're soon to have 3 extra senior medics on hand, so that means that the buses are gonna be staffed with 2 instead of 1. Right now, it's mostly 2 with a few ones, but with 3 extra. That way, if somebody cycles out for vacation or sick or whatever, we have somebody that can step in, keep the buses full. Roxanne has agreed to be our legal consultant for this contract at no charge to anybody in the consortium. We were all very grateful for that. And they're in discussion with the county to help with the expense of the county entities and using the ambulance like the jail. It takes 3 times, or it takes more than 3 times or more longer than a regular call because of all the processes they have to go through in the jail, which takes the bus away from us or whoever else in the consortium is trying to make that call. So we have to source it in from Branch County or Cass or Calhoun or wherever we can get an extra one to come by. Also, during the budget looking at, they noticed that Centerville was having to pay the amount for the visits to the jail and to the nursing home and to the courthouse. And we don't feel that that's right for Centerville Village to have to do that when the county should be picking that up. So Steve is talking with the county, he went to the last county meeting to let them know, hey, we're gonna be coming to you guys. We're expecting you to start paying your share for the calls to the jail and to the courthouse. And he's also contacted the nursing home and said, you guys are gonna start getting the bill for the ambulance runs, because that shouldn't be on the consortium. That's, the nursing home's a private business now, not owned by the county. So they should be paying their way. And nobody's made them aware that, the ambulance just isn't free for you guys. So, that's gonna be hopefully done here in the next few months. But like I said, Steve is starting to broach those subjects. He started last month with them. So hopefully by the time the next budget comes around, those savings can be helped offset. And maybe the increases that we saw from the last budget to this budget won't be nearly as much because we'll be getting more money from the county and from the nursing home to offset all those calls, which run about 30% of all of the total of the calls go to those 3 places.
Wow. Fairview gets a lot of calls over there.
Yes, they do. So.
The whole county's been busy lately with a lot of wrecks, fires, bad wrecks. The life care has been hammered.
Yeah, they've had, their number of, I didn't put this on my notes, but I just remember him saying that the number of calls where they've had to run sirens is above the standard because of how many emergency calls they've had recently. So we've had quite a bit of an uptick in calls in just the last month or 2. And that was just in February. That doesn't include all the ones from this month yet, so.
And the amount of calls that are, I got a hangnail 6 hours ago, I need to go to the hospital, is ridiculous.
There's a lot
all
of those.
kinds of them.
There's a number of them where it's just somebody who's lonely and they call for the ambulance, and so they I don't feel good, so they do the blood pressure and all that, and visit with her one of them, but visit with them for a little while, and so we really gotta go when they leave. It's more of a social thing than it is an actual emergency, but we still get gate out of it for them.
And we'll vote on that contract next month, won't we?
I believe so. Well, yes, I think so. My understanding is it's supposed to be done by April.
Do you remember?
I thought it was supposed to be done by April.
Anita, you know, okay, I didn't know if you remember.
No, I'm sorry.
Anything else, Dan?
No, that's it.
Mel?
No.
Do you?
No, I have nothing else to say.
I got a question.
What's that?
So, if we were gonna try and go to unlimited, our application date is April 1st. And we've tabled this motion till April. How does that affect us, Doug, for taking the application? Should we push back our date?
Your ordinance is already in place to take applications on April 1st.
But we can still change if we decide to go to unlimited next meeting, and then it would go into effect? Or how does that work?
If you get on April 2nd, you get 5 applications and you're in the process of changing it to unlimited, then I would say your chances are pretty good. If you say, no, we're not gonna change it, then the committee's gonna have to go to work and do the process of picking the 2 and cross your fingers that you don't get a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Please.
No.
Check with Diane.
Yes. I passed out a few things that was, from the Constantine Village meeting, and I'm sorry if that upset people, but I really liked how they did their budget. They really categorized it. And, the monthly activity report for the police, I don't know if you got one, Bill, but I'll give you this one. And then there's a monthly one for the Department of Works. Kind of makes it kind of nice and easy to make a report. And then, the village, how they write up their meeting notes. There's a little information on there, and that would be nice, instead of just public comment received. That tells you nothing. That's all I have.
Cool, go ahead.
Yeah, we got probably 80%, 90% of the pole barn complete. Drywall will be there Monday. Heaters are hung. That's almost coming to a close in there, so, which is nice. Our SCADA was installed at our well houses. If we would have had it a week earlier, hopefully we wouldn't have ran into that situation we ran into a couple Wednesdays ago, so. I handed out you guys 2 packets. One says residential, one says commercial. So it's a company called Hydro Corp. This is for cross connections and backflow preventers, preventing stuff, contaminants coming back into our water system. It's required that we do this every year by the state, and we've been writing the report that we've been doing it. We go into the high hazards that we have and do it, but we're not qualified to do this legally. I would have to go to a class, get a license. Takes a long drawn out process, but then that takes away probably 20 hours of my week to go in here and do all of our homes and our businesses yearly. Houses are every 5 to 10 years. Your high hazard businesses and low hazard businesses your high hazards are once a year, your low hazards are every 5 years. But they need to be done. So this company comes in, make sure everybody's compliant. We don't even have an ordinance about cross connect or any of that. They come in, draw the ordinance. If somebody's not compliant, they send the bills. They do all the scheduling going into the houses, into the businesses who need this done. So this is something I think that we really should look at going to and having them do. If we don't, we should probably hire another DPW guy, because this is almost a full-time job in itself. But this kind of takes care of that situation, and they do all the yearly reports that the state requires, and we're pretty out of compliant when it comes to this stuff, and the state's starting to crack down on us, I would say tremendously on this, so.
So it's gonna be both these amounts?
Yes, yeah, it totals to about 59,000 in 5 years, which is about $900 a month, a little over $900 a month for the 2 of them. If we did one now and then one next, so residentials aren't getting pushed as hard right now. You still are mandated to do them every 10 years. The commercial, those need to be done every 5. So if we at least got the commercial going and maybe next year we plan for the residential, that could happen as well, but I don't want to be the one who is getting blamed because we're not compliant with the state. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that we're not compliant with, and I guess checking one off the list would be a good goal.
So Kobe brought this to us tonight, not to vote on it tonight, but so everybody could have this stuff with everything, explain what it is, how much it's gonna be per year for residential and per year for commercial, so we could possibly vote on it next month, or
We would-
if there's any questions come up and stuff like that.
Hope to vote next month, because we're already in the month 4. I mean, at that point, we'll be 4 months out of the new, 5 months out of the new year, and that's 5 months that they didn't have to get in here to get these ones, get what needs to be done.
So the issue is when we lose water pressure in town and there's more water pressure in a house or a business that exceeds the pressure that was in the line, it's gonna go out. Well, what if we get rid of our any pressure vessels that are containing water? What if you have tankless water heater?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you're eliminating, there's other ways to eliminate the cross contamination, you know?
Yeah, or, I mean, even the biggest cross contamination is the tub sink in your wash tub sink down in your washroom, and you got a hose that runs into the sink, but now it's got water in it that you didn't drain out, and that hose is in that water.
Siphon back up.
Dishwashers are a big problem.
Yeah, dishwashers, like Pigeon's fountain, are there machines there, the pop machines, Shell Station, those are all big ones.
So we just need to keep the pressure higher.
Yeah, well, that would have been it could have, I mean, been a bad deal when we lost pressure here. I mean, so it's just something that I was, just so you guys could see and whatnot, so.
And hopefully no one. What you got, Tom?
You do know all the new buildings that we've built have backflow preventers in it.
Yep.
They got them fancy RPZs or
Those-
whatever they're called.
Right, and so does all the fire suppression in all of our buildings have backflow preventers in them too, so I mean, the commercial's probably better equipped for that than residential by far.
Cause your buildings are all supposed to be inspected once a year, every
They are.
year.
They are, by us.
Yep, so, yeah.
Do they have people testing the backflow printers, make sure they're working right?
Annually, it's required.
He's gotta have his, sprinkler systems and stuff done once a year too,
Right,
and
they
that is
test all of
cheap.
that.
Especially depending on what kind of system you got.
I'm just saying, I think your commercial, at least the newer buildings in town are in better shape.
Oh,
As far as
yeah.
backflow than residential.
Cause the school they went this is probably 4 or 5 years ago, they switched over, put an RPZ, cause they never had one, and they were having boiler issues. And that's why they had to get one put in there then.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of gummy crap inside their boiler system. So if everybody could review this before next month, please. And if you don't have Kobe's email, get it from him, you could reach out and ask him any questions before then. Anything else, Kobe?
Nope.
Thank you. The only thing I was gonna bring up real quick was, everybody should've got an email again. John looked this up last year, but it's called textmygov.com. It's a texting app. There was a couple people that, we posted in some newspapers, a couple places around town, and some people still did not hear about the boil water advisory. This system here, whoever signed up for it, we would get into a website, type in, water boil is in effect from this date and time until further notice, and you push send and it goes to everybody that signs up for it. Kinda like the schools got, I don't have kids, but, they got like a Honeywell system or something. Is that what it is?
Thank you.
That is, to do it would be $3,000 the first year, $1,000 is a setup fee, and then it's $2,000 per year annual. But everybody's got this information in there too. your emails to think about, and if you find another program that does this, reach out to them and see, maybe there's somebody cheaper, but I think that would be an awesome program to have.
Does it have other services connected?
There is, but I don't 100% know what they are,
Yeah.
but there's one that, it's in the email also.
Right.
It's not printed off
Do
here, I
you
just
pay
got.
any, like your water bill to it or anything?
This
Okay,
is just
not that one.
get info out.
Okay, gotcha.
I think what she's trying to ask is, can we use that for, you know, meetings and meeting announcements?
Yeah, we can
things
send,
that?
like I said, we can send anything out we want, any kind of info. You know, hey, this road's gonna be closed, or
Okay.
stuff like that, so
They should rename it transparency.
I think it would be nice. So, read it, think about it, and that's all I got, so we just make a motion.
I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
Do you have to do this or no? No?
We are doing interviews for the clerk treasurer. We have 3 candidates. Macy had somebody else call today, sent us a resume and everything, so. Paige, your little camera here, anybody that wants to be a clerk treasurer at White Pigeon, we've got a part-time job. So, that's all.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
How many hours a week?
It was
3,
like,
3 days.
Yeah, so like
Or
24.
3 days?
24.
24, okay. That might be interesting for the people to have to know.
yeah.
It is in
And
this
it-
register, no?
Yeah, and it was where they posted it originally, when we posted, but some of they had a lot of them, but heck, there's people from Buchanan, Benton Harbor, nobody's gonna drive from there to do this, so. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Any second? Second by Jennifer, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:01.